let's talk more about how do men maintain, the celibacy thing today? Because I was thinking more about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because I realized there's I think there's quite a few guys in our group that are like now on board with that weren't, and I think it's a lot harder for men who that was never on their radar, and now it is.
Yeah.
'Cause
So like, what do you say to those guys though? Here's the thing, like, because it's easier for you. I would
Mhm,
say it's easier for somebody that has
yeah,
never done that, has never tasted that temptation,
right.
right? If you don't know what it tastes like, then you don't know what you're staying away from. But a guy that has experienced it, how do we get him to practice celibacy?
Well, they gotta want to at the beginning, and I think from my experience with the guys in our group, they wanna practice it, and they just don't know how to do it from a boundary standpoint, and I think that's where the questions come in, and they're I obviously don't know because 'cause I'm not in the circumstance, but I think if you've been there, done that, you're gonna have to have stricter boundaries actually than someone like me, because I think your brain's gonna go from 0 to 100 on that way easier, whereas for me, I think it's easier to control because it's just I haven't crossed that line. So, unfortunately, I think some of the you gotta know yourself and realize, where you need to be honestly setting boundaries in your relationship to maintain that. I think about guy setting, a boundary on just, e even making out with some chick. I'm sure most guys, they don't wanna just do that without that progressing further. So then where's your boundary gonna be there? Like, I don't know the answers on this. It's gonna be different for each one individually, but it's it's tough today, especially
Well,
when
it's
the
like
girls
it's
got
a temptation, right? Like Paul says, like, what may tempt you may not be my temptation.
right.
But I'm
You
not
got
going
to
to
know
do it in front
yourself.
of you so you don't I'm not going to try to cause you to sin. I'm not going to be a stumbling block for you, right? So it's to each is their like not to each their own, but like it's up to each one's own level of resistance of temptation, right?
Hmm.
And they have to be honest with themselves.
Right. You gotta be
And
honest with yourself too. If you got alcohol involved too, you need to have
yeah,
different boundaries. And also if you're gonna repeat something, I even know for myself, I've realized boundaries. Okay, that was fine for that one time, but if I did that a lot with her, boundaries, we're gonna go right past those boundaries at some point.
yeah, yeah.
So it's nuanced, and I think you're gonna have to be. I think communication with her will be very important too, and she's got to be aligned with you on that. If she's just signing up for it, kind of like, oh, I'll deal with his convictions on that. Like, you need to have her helping put the brakes on too. So
Yeah.
she's got to be aligned with you on that.
Yeah, I think women wouldn't I don't think modern women, even women in the church, would really understand how to deal with the guy that doesn't try to push things, right? That's
Yeah.
not trying to escalate things
Yeah.
and take things further. Like they're probably gonna think that,
Hmm.
are you gay? Like,
Oh, I know. It's
right,
And I've
um,
had that conversation with women too, because I've explained, especially if they're kind of doing the prodigal daughter thing, women who haven't really dated a Christian man who's serious about that, they're not their experience with us is gonna be different. Because I think how a man pursues a woman when sex is on his mind in the short term versus not are kind of two different experiences. And I think most of the women are used to being pursued by a guy who has sex on his mind in the short term. And so they're not going to understand, they're not, that's just something they're going to have to experience. They're not going to be kind of prepared for the difference. Um, and there's just, there's subtleties. I don't really know how to explain it, but I just know how I'd probably change in my pursuit if sex was in my mind in the short term versus not, or versus what I do now.
well,
So
let's give some like red pill, um, let's give some Christian red pill tips for guys that want to practice. They want to date women, they want to get to know women, and they want to have a relationship, but be able to experience genuine desire without sex.
Right. And that right there is something I want to talk to Rolo about sometime, is understanding genuine desire without sex involved. Because
Yeah.
that's a question I don't know I don't know that
Well,
answer.
is it sex involved period, or like without it being sexual, like genuine desire outside of the sexual understanding of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
Because
don't know that answer.
I can say I experienced genuine desire outside of sex with my fiance now. When I
Mm-hmm.
told her, I was like, look, if you want us to be in a relationship, you got to move to California. And mind you, she had a house in Washington. She had a good career going on, and she sold everything. And 2 weeks later, she was here.
Wow.
And that had
Well,
nothing to do with
yeah.
that was not a non-sexual act of genuine
Mm,
desire displayed, right? You
100%.
know, of course we had sex, but and I'm not as good as you, Mike. I'm not as good as you. I'm working on it.
Hey man, I
but
encourage it.
but
Try it out.
I've been very celibate lately. She's in Washington right now, taking care of her mom. But for like the last 6 months. But you know, that to me was an act of genuine desire that had nothing to do with sex.
Mm-hmm.
Like that desire to, like, you know what, fine, I will sell everything and I will move to where he's at because I want to be with him. I want a relationship with him. That to me was an example of genuine desire outside of sex.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think even in the dating process, when you see her, what level of effort is she putting in?
Yeah.
I think you'll be able to see that. Is she making the longer drives, or you know, what effort is she putting in to make sure she sees you? Even if she's quote potentially busy, is she dropping plans and stuff. Like, I think you can. There's cues you can pick up on.